Welcome back to my channel. I'm Sammy, Sam Marie, Samantha Marie a lot, if you will. Today, we're going to talk about the 10 books I would sell my soul to read again for the first time ever. A little bit to know about me. I'm 28. I'm a Psych PA. I'm a small business owner, fur baby mother of 3, book collector, avid reader, hobby enthusiast. First and foremost, grab yourself a drink, grab yourself a snack. I'm having a sugar-free Red Bull, not by choice. It was just the only thing that was here. Yeah, okay. I feel like this is a really good place for us to start getting to know each other, because this will let you know where I align with you on reading tastes. After I get into these books, I'm gonna kind of just rapid fire talk about some books I think that will work for me based off of these. And that's just based off of like seeing other book talkers who agree with me on these, seeing other recommendations, seeing what Goodreads says other readers are reading and enjoying based off of these reads. Should we just get into it? Okay, let's talk about the 10 books I'm selling my soul and making a deal with the devil to read again. I'm talking about making a deal with the devil. The first one, Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. Probably my favorite book of all time. I just loved it so immensely and so deeply. This book, we're following Addie. She is in an arranged marriage situation, but she does not want to be in it. So she goes to the woods, makes a deal with the devil. She gets this opportunity to live forever. So we follow her through this lifetime, going through centuries and centuries and centuries. However, she is cursed to not be remembered until she meets somebody who finally says, no, I remember you. What a ride this book was. I will say it's very mundane. It's giving character study until you've built up such a relationship with the characters that suddenly the stakes are way higher than we ever originally thought they were going to be. It's a slow build, slow burn, high payoff. When we're talking about this book, we're really delving into and looking into this fundamental human need to be seen, to be heard, and to be loved. And Addie LaRue cannot experience that. We like to see ourselves through other people's lenses, and we like to validate that they see us the way that we see ourselves. It's kind of like this social mirror, the social interaction that Addie LaRue cannot experience until she meets Henry. She's been dealing with this whole psychological void of our need to just be social, to interact with people. She's been missing that, being able to build connection, build foundation, build a home. So he fills that. So it's not just about like a love story. It's not just about romance. It's about finding someone who can validate her existence as a human being, and how special that was, how life-changing that was. But what a betrayal by V.E. Schwab that ending was. And that's all I'll say about that. It felt like a betrayal. Oh my goodness. And there's one thing in this book that I need to pick up. I have like a little special edition. I would love to get like an actual from like a small business who binds books, but there's this specific portion of this book that I just feel like, I don't know, the way this was written, everything about it. There's another character in this book. This is kind of an emotional spiral that he's going through in the middle of the book, and it says, take a drink every time you hear a lie. You're a great cook, they say as you burn toast. You're so funny. You've never told a joke. You're so handsome, ambitious, successful, strong. Are you drinking yet? You're so charming, clever, sexy. Drink. So confident, so shy, so mysterious, so open. You are impossible, a paradox, a collection at odds. You are everything to everyone, the son they never had, the friend they always wanted, a generous stranger, a successful son, a perfect gentleman, a perfect partner, a perfect drink. They love your body, your abs, your laugh, the way you smell, the sound of your voice. They want you, not you. They need you, not you. They love you, not you. You are whoever they want you to be. You are more than enough because you are not real. You are perfect because you don't exist. Not you, never you. They look at you and see whatever they want, but they don't see you at all. Shut up. If that doesn't make you want to spiral and crash out as well, maybe you're just normal. So yeah. When I say I would sell my soul to read that again for the first time, because again, when you get to the ending, it's just so like impossibly high, how high the stakes get, and how you don't realize how deeply embedded you are into the story until you're there.
I feel like this is giving kind of the same vibes in writing styles and existentialism, but Alone with You in the Ether by Addie Blake. I would love to read this again for the first time, experience her writing for the first time. We're following Aldo and Reagan, and Aldo and Reagan have different neurodivergencies, and we get into their brains and experience what that is like for them living with those. And I will say they are not things that I have personally experienced. I don't relate to either of these characters, but isn't that the joy and fun I'm reading, right? You can read for escapism, you can read to understand different brains, how they work. At the same time, you could also find a character that you deeply relate to. These two characters, they meet at the museum, happens perchance, and we kind of go on their love story, their journey together. It's messy. Yes, it could be toxic. Let's say Reagan's my bestie and we're like discussing this, or Aldo's my bestie and we're discussing this. Would I maybe be concerned for the relationship? Probably, absolutely. But both characters, they do have baselines that are chaotic, and they kind of find each other as this co-regulation, which again could be concerning. But I think what they delve so deep into and so well here is kind of similar with The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, is there is this deep human biological need to feel connection, to feel understood. And I think Addie Blake did such a good job showing how well these characters cared to deeply understand one another on a different wavelength than a lot of people are willing to get with one another. And if that's not love, I don't know what is. If not knowing somebody this deeply, this intimately, this romantically is not what you want with your partner, like what is love? You know what I mean? And it was just like so fun to be in a different psychological mindset as well. And the writing style was none other a wonderful time. This one's on a different wavelength, and this one's A Happy Place by Emily Henry. And this one gets a little personal for me, okay? This is why I would like to experience this for the first time ever again. In this, we're following Harriet and Wynn. It's a then and now timeline. The then is the happy place. The now is like, what is going on? They are part of this friend group who goes to this beach house, lake house every summer up in the Northeast. That is how they meet, is through this found family, this found connection, and they grow their connection over time, and we're watching that happen in the past. But in the current timeline, it's going to be their last summer that they get to spend at this house. However, Harriet and Wynn are no longer together. Unfortunately, nobody in the friend group knows, but they do not want to put a bigger damper on the mood that has already been set. The tone has been set for the summer, that is their last summer. They don't want to worsen anything by like, yeah, hey, we're also not together anymore. So they fake date through this. First and foremost, when I picked up this book, it was already nostalgic to pieces of my childhood. I used to spend summers with my grandparents in New Hampshire for a northeastern summer on the lake. And so already just being up there, the lobster rolls, everything, just felt reminiscent of another lifetime. So right off the bat, I was already connected. And then I got to meet Harriet and just felt so seen and heard through the lens of her. There's a lot of different reasons for that. Her relationship with Wynn, kind of who she is in the relationship and who Wynn is, and kind of being with this bright, sunshiny boy when maybe you don't feel that way about yourself. But also she goes through quite a big career changes, going from something that is highly regarded and something that people be like, oh, you're definitely making your parents proud with that, and that type of thing, to switching to something that somebody's gonna scratch their head and be like, why would you trade that stability for this type of lifestyle? And I've kind of gone through something similar as well. So I was just like very seen, very heard. It was also my first Emily Henry read, and so like that'll just go down in history for me, one of my favorite authors. The first book that you read by an author that you're newly introduced to that is going to be a favorite author will always hold some sort of sentimental value to you. Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. This was pretty recent for me. I think as I continue to read, I'm definitely like finding things that are more suited to me, understanding my reading tastes, what I like in a book. We're following Emma and Justin. Both have discovered that they have the same curse, that everybody they date ends up meeting the love of their life as soon as they break up. So they decide that they're gonna meet for 4 dates, a kiss, and a breakup. After that, they assume they should break up, and they will then meet the love of their life. That's the plan, that's what's intended, but there's a lot of depth to these characters characters. Emma going through quite a bit, Justin going through a big change in his life. It's just very real life. We're getting this beautiful, fluffy type of romance with a not fluffy and a not beautiful life. The stressors of being an adult and trauma and all the things that happen in real life. And I think if you grew up being the responsible one, this might be a safe place for you. I just felt so connected and emotionally seen, represented, and heard by Emma. This definitely gets into something that you can talk about in Psych called parentification, where the child at some point becomes the parent instead. Watching somebody else go through that and seeing their feelings and how they understood it and what their experience was can kind of help you work through your own experience through that. She's always on edge because of this dependent parent who has created quite some toxicity in her life. She's been in survival mode, and through this we get to watch her transition out of that survival mode to safety by finding her person and finding her people and realizing that it is okay to be taken care of by somebody else. I would love to reread this for the first time, especially because when I went into this, I just didn't know what Emma's storyline was going to be, and I didn't know I was ever going to read that experience in a book. I didn't know somebody was going to give me a hug like that. Do you know what I mean? Beartown by Frederick Bachman. This is another one I would love to reread for the first time. Frederick Bachman, I feel like, is the ultimate observer of the human condition, studying human beings and their behaviors and speaking about it so eloquently. I don't even know how to describe his writing style. In this book, quick short wrap up, Beartown is a small town, a small hockey town. This town relies so heavily on hockey economically, for their social hierarchy. I mean, just everything is so deeply integrated into their society, interwoven into their society, into their communities. And so through this, we're getting multiple kind of character studies throughout the entirety of this book. We're following a lot of different characters. Frederick Bachman does a lot of evaluation on groupthink and the bystander effect, and how we can all have a blind spot when we're all so focused on one specific goal. And if you're outside of that, there can be this fear of being outcast from society. Do you want to be the one who goes against the grain, who stands out, who speaks out, and those effects that could have on you in society if you are the one to do so, to not stick to the status quo and what that looks like? You know, like, are you going to be the one person who speaks the truth when the world around you is telling you to stay silent? The power, the messaging in these books is, like, honestly a force to be reckoned with. I think he also has this way that he could, I think, captivate the soul of so many people in his writing. So many people could pick this up, read it, enjoy it, learn something from it. I can't wait to continue the series. You saw it coming if you've seen a video of mine. The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. Short little wrap up. We're following Rin. She comes from an impoverished community, an impoverished lifestyle. She is going to take this examination, be the top 1% of test takers, and get into this elite military college that is free to go to. It's her only option. She tests into it. We follow her on this journey of going to this elite military college and how the story unravels from there. There is heavy inspiration from the Sino-Japanese War, the Chinese Civil War, so real life events illustrated into this fantastical world. The fantasy element of it is shamanism. Takes you on quite the journey, quite the ride. I would love to reread specifically this book for the first time ever again, restart the series, restart fresh, restart anew, because I feel like I was so naive when I picked this book up and was reading it. There's something that feels nostalgic of going back to the first days when they are in college. Now, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on, right? Rin is facing issues of being attacked for the color of her skin, her accent being from the South. But when she starts making connections with people, I feel like there's some nostalgia to that portion of it. It's like looking back, oh, how times have changed, seriously, from this book to the last book. And as we're going through this whole book, you just almost don't realize it until it's too late how deeply wounded some of these bonds will be through the trauma, the war that they face. R.F. Kuang really gets into the psychological distress and warfare that occurs when you go against the grain of your own held moral beliefs, when you start to violate those and violate those morality clauses that you have with friends and family and classmates, the people you surround yourself with. Following Rin's journey, it's really a crazy look at how a combination of somebody's trauma and ambition can be weaponized when put into the wrong hands. This series is really, it's a tragedy. And to be able to go back to a time when things were simpler, even though they didn't start off simpler, but how much simpler they were from the beginning compared to the end, I just can't be normal about it. On a bit of a lighter note, Archer's voiced by Mia Sheridan. This is a romance, a love story. We're following Archer, and I actually don't know what the female main character's name, Bree. We're following Archer and Bree. Bree is going through this big life change. She moves to this small town, and she runs into Archer, who is mute. He has selective mutism. He's kind of been shamed, been pinned as the town outcast. He's treated pretty poorly by the town, so he kind of lives in his home, doesn't talk to anybody, but we watch Bree kind of peel back his layers one chapter at a time, and we watch their love story through this. This could be seen as like a light, fun romance to some, but it really gets into topics of like complex PTSD, selective mutism. Kind of shows how his silence isn't just a plot point to keep the story going. It's really a protective mechanism from the traumas that he had faced, and how the brain can shut off certain pathways, certain memories in order to protect you. Its goal at the end of the day is your survival and protecting you. And we get to watch kind of both of their journeys to healing through this book, which is something special. It was a tearjerker for me. And there is a point, this will be lightly spoilery, so I'll put like a little skip to this. But if you've read the book, there is literally a point in this book where I thought Archer was dead. I thought he was dead and gone. And then you turn the page, like I felt the physical symptoms of shock of losing somebody. And then you flip the page and he's not dead. Like you do not have to worry, he's not dead. If you've read the book, you know what I mean. If you didn't read the book, now's your time to join back in on our discussion. But yeah, I would love to reread this again, especially for that specific point that we just talked about, like the surprise of that. I haven't felt a surprise of that for a long time in reading like I did in this book. Another book I would love to reread again for the first time, sell my soul to experience it all over again for the first time, is Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco. This is a fantasy trilogy. We're following Amelia and her twin sister, Vittoria. Vittoria dies. It's not a spoiler, I think that's on here. Yeah, she dies. Amelia finds her body, and now she's going on this journey to kind of uncover what happens, and that's when she meets Wrath, who is one of the wicked, one of the prince's 7 deadly princes, and we go on a journey from there. I mean, there's romance, there is plot twists, there is this fantasy world, there is worlds upon worlds. This really caught me off guard. I didn't expect to love it as much as I did. When I picked this up, the Carrie Maniscalco's next series, that's the interconnected standalone series, Following the Princess of Sin, was kind of trending, and I wanted to read that. Literally the only reason I picked this book up was because I wanted to read that book, and I didn't expect to love it as much as I did, love it the way that I did. And yeah, this book just really kept me on my toes, kept me engaged. It was kind of funny because I'm like, I'm a smart individual, I can read a book, and then the author's just in your face like, haha, no, you're not, I got you. And that's what she did in this book, and I love that. I love to be totally thrown off guard. The plot twist in this book was crazy to me. At the time, I wasn't really reading too much fantasy, so it might have been right in front of my face. It could have been, but don't judge me, I didn't see it coming. And to experience that plot twist again for the first time, I would love to be bamboozled like that again, okay? One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune. This is a summertime romance, and it says, I never anticipated meeting Charlie Florek. Hey, I never anticipated it either. I did not see this man coming. This is just like the perfect beach read, perfect summer read. Nobody knows how to set the tone, set the setting for you like this gal right here, Carly Fortune. She knows what she's doing. We're following Alice and we're following Charlie. Alice's grandmother has just gone through a surgery, and Alice is kind of going through life changes. So they go back to this lake that they used to go to spend the summer, but Charlie also lives there, and he's the one who's going to kind of be helping making the house handicapped accessible. So they start texting to get things set up, and right off bat, even through texting, even through the screen screens. Chemistry is off the charts. It's there. And then they meet in person. This is just like, oh, this is everything I want in a romance. It was so perfect. There's depth to the characters. We're watching them go through things, but we're also just feeling like, oh, we're just also feeling the love in the air and the banter and the characters falling in love. And this book also is again on that nostalgic loop for me. Being anything on a summer on a lake is gonna do it for me because it's just gonna like itch that little memory in the back of my head of a northeastern summer with my grandparents. You know, it's just gonna hit every single time. It doesn't matter who does it. And it's also nostalgic just because they kind of have this summer bucket list, and that's just nostalgic to like a time of Pinterest bucket lists. And this book just hit home for me. You know, I would love to experience this again for the first time because I am a summer romance girly. I love a summer romance. I do, to my core. And then lastly, a pretty recent read. I just finished it this morning. The Ministry of Time by Kaylee Ann Bradley. I don't know why I decided to pick this book up, but I did. Do we see that? Because clearly I ate this up. I put this book down and I was like, hey, I would like to kind of reread that already. Like, we just finished this and I'm already ready to reread it. But in this book, we are following... Have I forgotten names? I mean, we're following Commander Graham Gore. But what is her name? He calls her like little cat the whole time. She probably said her name right when they met. Wait, okay, I need to look this up. Wait, she's unnamed? Wait, okay, we never hear the name of this female main character. So we're following this female main character. She's a civil servant. She works for the ministry. And the ministry is on this time travel research project, essentially. They found this time door. And through that time door comes Commander Graham Gore. And she is going to be his bridge, which essentially means she's going to be this bridge between the then and now for him and introduce him into this new society. So they have to live together for the first year while she kind of helps introduce him to things and kind of what that looks like how do you introduce new things? Somebody coming from 1847, like times have changed. How are you going to introduce major things like the Holocaust and 9/11 and World War I, World War II? But yeah, it was just like such an interesting story, and it's actually even so interesting that they never gave you the name of the female main character. Now that I'm looking back on that, the writing style was I really enjoyed it. It was very much like a will they, won't they. Like, I wouldn't say this is a romance book, but it was romantic. I think I'm just like still in the processing phase. I just finished this morning. I can't even decide or make a decision like was that a happily ever after? Are we happy? I think this book like really makes you feel displaced after reading it. And there's definitely exploration of cultural displacement and depersonalization. And these characters have come from a whole different time period. Ways have changed. I mean, language has changed. And they talk about this here-ness, there's there-ness, reconciling the person you were there with who you are now in today's society and bringing that together. I would love to reread this for the second time to go back through with a different perspective of what happened at the ending, because the ending was so shocking, but also to reread it for the first time. Like, I read this in 2 or 3 days. I couldn't put it down. It was a page turner. I feel like in this you really feel yearning, but from the female perspective. And this book was funny too. Okay, so if you don't want any spoilers, this is like pretty deep in the book, 227. I'll put a skip to this time. So the characters kissed for the first time, and she's talking about it's humiliating to be treated like a child after being kissed like a, and he says, please, I've been trying to court you. I blinked. What? He frowned at me over the cigarette. Evidently, I mismanaged this. I don't have a very much experience in courting. I don't understand what you want, nor what any woman of this era wants. I don't know what I have to offer you. You are perfectly independent. You're occupied to almost a violent degree by your own career, but while I thought you do eat everything I cook, so perhaps you were planning on feeding me until what? I was hoping you might be able to explain that to me if you found me suitable. Suitable for what? Well, I thought maybe, I don't know, in my time, things progress very differently. I didn't know what you wanted. It's humorous, it was romantic, it was like genre bending, it was just a good and fun time. I really enjoyed it. Those are my 10 books currently right now and today that I would sell my soul to read for the first time. Again, there's definitely like some honorable mentions that I would also love to reread for the first time again. So many books that I've just enjoyed. Rapid fire books that I think I am going to enjoy based off of those, specifically because of what I've seen other people who like some of these books also enjoy, what authors are similar, or like if you like this author, you'll like this author. author type of deal. Also going on Goodreads and seeing what other people are reading based off of the same reads, rating the same reads high. Number 1, This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amal El Motar. 2, Calabasas by R.F. Kuang. 3, The God of the Woods, Liz Moore. 4, Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaughey. The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. A Master of Gin by P. Jelly Clark. The Unbroken by C.L. Clark. Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. Before I Let Go, Kennedy Ryan. And The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. So those are some books that are on my radar based off of my collective research, based off of what I liked and enjoyed from these books and what I'm gonna start looking into moving forward. Thankfully, there's 3 of these books are actually on my physical TBR. I could actually get into those and read those here soon. If you think based off of any of these that I would like specific books of those more than the others, I would love to hear it. But yeah, thank you for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day, weekend, and happy reading.